You're live with BBC News. Now to South America, a growing row between Guyana and Venezuela. So take a look at what's at stake here. Over the weekend, Venezuela held a referendum on its claim to Essequibo, an oil-rich area. They voted to establish a new state there. But the International Court of Justice has ordered Venezuela not to do anything that would change the current situation. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro says his countrymen have taken the first steps in a struggle to get back what belongs to them, even though the referendum was non-binding and the turnout was reportedly low. Let's go live now to the President of the Republic of Guyana, Dr. Mohammed Irfaan Ali. Thank you very much for coming on the programme.
Thank you very much for having me.
So what's your response to this referendum in Venezuela?
Well, first of all, our response has always been one that respects international law, one that respects the dignity of people, and one that leads to the continuation of peace within this region. That is why we went to the ICJ for provisional measures in relation to this referendum. Not to stop the referendum, because that is their business, but to have provisional measures against two questions. One, that would allow Venezuela to annex the Essequibo, and two, to allow them to establish a state. And on both these questions, the ICJ made it very clear that Venezuela is not to act upon the outcome of these two questions or upon the outcome of the referendum, and that Venezuela must respect the status quo as it exists today in Guyana, and that is Essequibo belonging to Guyana, and Guyana administering this county.
And do you think Venezuela will respect it, or do you think they will annex it?
Well, first of all, I believe that Venezuela has a responsibility to honor the order. They have a responsibility to respect the 1899 award. And in the 1899 award, the boundaries of Guyana and Venezuela was fully settled, and that settlement was jointly agreed to by Venezuela and Guyana. For a matter of fact, Venezuela went on to enact the boundaries within the legal system and even printed stamps with the boundaries. Now, I'm concerned that Venezuela can indeed follow up their rhetoric and the narrative and act in a reckless manner. And this is concerning because already we have a dangerous situation in Venezuela where the people are suffering as a result of the type of governance, where the respect for the rule of law, where democracy and all these things are threatened. So we are concerned that a reckless and adventurous action can lead to more displacement of the Venezuelan people.
Okay.
That creates added regional pressures on migration and so on. So as a country, we're not taking this for granted. We're not taking a narrative out of Venezuela for granted. That is why we have been working with our neighbors, our friends, CARICOM, Commonwealth, the OS, have all issued very strong statements and call on Venezuela to respect the rule of law and respect the order of the ICJ.
Okay, President, thank you very much for coming on the programme. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Now, on day 5 of the UN climate conference in Dubai, the summit's president has been forced to deal with a video of him casting doubt on the world's ability to phase out fossil fuels without, as he put it, going back to living in caves. The Guardian newspaper published a video of Sultan Al Jaber telling an online event last month that there is no science to say phasing out fossil fuels achieves the climate goal of limiting global temperature rises to 1.5 degrees above pre-industrial levels. Well, let's go live now to Alex Raflovich, Director of the Fossil Fuels Non-Proliferation Treaty Initiative, which aims to gain international cooperation on a treaty that will end development of new fossil fuels. Thank you very much for coming on the programme.
Thank you very much for having me.
So what do you make of all this?
Well, I think the science is actually overwhelmingly clear. What the UN's latest science in its emissions gap report has shown